as she's running, like the steam, if you look, like it's originating from what she's holding, and like you can see the trail going behind her. Welcome back to episode 10 of Heavenly Delusion. Appreciate you watching, and if you have not watched the anime or have not watched the other 9 episodes or reviews, I highly recommend going back and watching those before jumping into this one. You don't necessarily need to, because like some of the episodes are connected, some of them aren't, but this dude was in the last episode, and he ended up helping the 2 kids because he wanted to go back and save his baby. One of the stories that he was talking about, he wasn't actually lying, so he ended up bringing them to this place, and we get to see this miraculous scene right in the beginning of him fondling these 2, and the face looks that people have with the ability to animate this is pretty impressive, dude. Like, I don't know how people are able to do that. If you know how to do that, like, let me know down below, because that's pretty impressive. So it's just like, don't fill up the chest of another man's woman. So like, he's still like under the impression that like this is his woman, so he's like protecting her in the best way that he knows how to, which is fantastic. And it's just like, that's just she's like, well, who's woman? It's like, oh, sorry about that. It's just like, women with big chests are hated in that town, so he had to double check and see like what was going on. Like, it's a little bit of a joke in this episode. Like, they're having a little bit more light-hearted fun compared to the last one, and it's just like he turns into a much prettier girl than like she is, which is interesting to think of. Even though like the dude just did some like little magic, I don't know how he dyed his hair or whatever it was, but like whatever he did, like he ended up doing that. And it's like, all right, well, we should go now. So it's like, who's more attractive? It's like, naturally you miss since you're a woman, which is interesting because like, well, this whole time, this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, this whole freaking series confuses the living crap out of me, because she says that she is a woman with a man's brain, but then she gets jealous in this said scenario where she's like, wait, you look more pretty than me. It's like, wait, no, that's not fair. Like, you're way prettier. And it's just like, that's where she asks like this guy over here, hey, Juichi, like, who's prettier? And it's just like, what naturally you miss. And that's where it's just like, okay, should we go now? Like, she feels so accomplished, but apparently what she said beforehand too is she's like, no, I'm actually a man, like in a woman's body. And it's like, well, then that shouldn't affect you whether or not the other person's prettier or not. So this is just another like one of the key things that like I wanted to relate to you. Like, it just does not make sense. These questions, these things, they just don't add up. And there's so much like flawed in the thinking. Like, there's so many loopholes, there's so many holes in the thinking of how these people are doing it. But like, what are you gonna do? So it's like, this is you now. Shut up. Like, think about that. This is you now. This is, shut up. See, he's trying to make the same point that I was just trying to make. Like, identifying that, like, yep, this is, that you are a woman. So it's pretty interesting. It's fun to be able to see these types of things. It's like being able to spot through people's like flawed thinking. But a lot of the times people won't change unless they make the decision themselves to change. So I can't make you do anything that you yourself don't want to do, or that you haven't decided that you were going to do in the first place. You're the only one that can decide to do those said things. And like, they had decided that they wanted to go save this guy, even though like he kind of lied to them at first and was kind of trying to distract them. But like, part of his stories was true, and every story is always based in reality in some way, shape, or form. And this Man-Eater was a lot harder and challenging than the last ones, because it ended up like having this freezing ability, and this is where the intuition comes in. And I touched on this in a couple of videos ago. Can't remember the exact one, but like, he's like trying to figure out like where the Man-Eater is, and he ends up like closing his eyes for a brief second, because like she's not able to find it, and he's just like, hold on, where is it? He's like, all right, let's just close my eyes for a brief second to think right here. He's like, I don't know how he knows, but like, watch this. He sees just a brief flash, like a brief 2-second flash, like it's 2 frames where he sees it. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to pause it in time. We'll try. But like, he's about to freeze as well. And then right when he's about to pass out, and this is something that like, if you're able to just pass out or like lose consciousness just for a brief second, you'll be able to see where it's at. And that's how he was able to know, like, oh, okay, like above us. And then as soon as he knows that it's above us, she ends up taking the shot. They end up warming up. And then she sees that like the thing is still like following him around, or them around. So she ends up testing a theory that she ended up having about like the powers of what it can do. And she realizes that like, oh, just as I thought, like it's this kind of attack where it only has like a range, a radius of like influence. So she's able to run through, break through like some of the things, freezes the water, ends up cutting off like part of it. But sadly, it's not the part that like it needed to be cut off. So like the creature's still around. So they end up driving back, and it's just like they see some of his friends like Boar 11, and it's like you're alive, Boar 6 and 9, which is pretty cool. So it's like the kid was born from your seed. He's healthy. He's ready. Like he's still there, which is beautiful. It's a little bit emotional seeing like the family, how these other guys like ended up protecting the kid. They end up going through like this meal. She gets a nice little hot bath as well again, which there's a lot of this happening with her, like showing the bath, because dude, like baths are just nice. Like having like hot temperatures, especially when you're in the cold, like it's a nice way to just kind of sit back, relax, and chill for a little bit. He ends up going through this like different scenario. All of a sudden, like the creature starts coming back, which is interesting. It's like, okay, well, why is everything so frozen? Like that doesn't make sense. So it's like we have to get out of here. Like take the child. She starts running, but like this is something that I noticed as well too. Maybe you did when you were watching it. Is as she's running, like the steam, if you look, like it's originating from what she's holding, and like you can see the trail going behind her. It's not like it's coming from anywhere else, which is interesting. And you could think, well, she's just running away from the steam, but like even as she runs away, he notices like the steam starts to, or the frozenness like starts to do this. So it's like if you don't keep moving, you'll die in minutes. So she just keeps running and running, but like you can see it from here, like this the icy cold stuff is around what she's holding, which is the child, and she just keeps running. It's just like, why is it still getting cold? Like this shouldn't be happening. And that's where he comes in, takes the baby, like drops the baby off. It's like don't go near him, like you're gonna die. It's like he just knows like that I can sense the presence of the creature on that child. Like he has the ability to do that. So it's just like, just put the child over here. Like it's okay, we'll figure it out. She's like, no, the baby's gonna die. Are you gonna let him die? It's like that kid is a Hiruko. The kid is a Hiruko, the man-eater, basically. I know now since I fought them so many times, I can sense. So that's why he was able to sense. Like he can say that that's why, but it's also like it was also his intuition. He was about to pass out, and he was able to identify and know that like, okay, this is what's gonna happen if like this is the presence, because like I have this intuition that I talked about in a couple of videos ago from other episodes. But then like the baby wakes up, is like, oh, is something gonna happen? Like what's gonna go wrong? Like, and then it's like, oh nope, just back to normal. Like nothing ever happened, which is kind of interesting. So then they can say it goes back to the other kids with with Tokyo being pregnant, and they said they can remove the thing inside of me soon, which they don't even know what it is, and then he can see, or she can see, his lover, whatever word you want to use there. You get to decide what, like, is it a partner, is it a lover, is it a relationship, is it a hookup? Like, what word do you want to use? I don't care. That's up to you in whatever way that you want to do it. So it's like he has no reason to travel anymore. The whole reason that sometimes this is just sometimes people travel is because they're trying to find like the love of their life, or they're trying to find like something that's missing. But it's like the thing that's always been missing is the thing that's right in front of you, and you just have to go out and get that said thing. It's the best way that I've been able to find it. So then they're gifted the car. They let them know about like the baby. Car ends up stalling because she doesn't know how to drive stick, which is just a little bit hilarious. And it's just like very important time. Like they get to are introduced to these new kids, which some of these new kids, like this one right here, kind of looks like this one from, well, I guess it would be from the last episode. It's like this kid. Let's do this. So this kid writes, where is it? All right, so it's right after this side. It's right. See this kid right here, 1940. This kid, we're gonna mute this as well too. Kind of reminds me of this kid right here. Like, if you look at it, like they kind of look the same, don't they? I gotta say they kind of look the same. You can let me know, but like that kid really does look the same as this kid right here in 1940. 1940. Like they look almost identical, bro. So it's like, are all of these kids just these other kids, but like just younger, basically? Because that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like this girl kind of looks like this girl. This girl kind of looks like this girl. This one kind of looks like this one. This one kind of looks like this one. Like it's just like this. They're just further along than these ones are. It's kind of a trip, dude. It's kind of a trip. And then it goes back in this backstory of like trying to figure out like what ended up happening to the mom and the kid and all these other things that ended up happening. And then he's like, you know what, screw it, like that's our car. He just wanted to take the baby and run like by himself because he's worried, has these past traumas, these fears that somebody else will come in and try and take the baby away from him, even though the baby was in a very safe, happy place. But he's like, I'm taking my kid with me. I'm not taking any more chances because I don't want to be hurt ever again. So with all of that being said, we made it to the end of the video. You might as well subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on the last 3 episodes of this series that I have going on right now. With that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this, and I'll chat with you tomorrow morning. So talk soon.